Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FCDB Cup 2017 qualifier. We are back again for a fairly similar matchup. Team 5 up against Tricked. It's again a Swedish team up against the Danish lineup of Tricked here in Group A. As always, my name is Hawker, and as always, I am joined by the lovely Sir Danny to bring you this matchup. What are your thoughts about
Aw.
this one, Danny?
Well, I mean, Tricked had, I'd say, a bit of a shaky start there on the city side of train, but really on the terrace side, that's really kind of showing through, so that's what I'm hoping to see again. Tricked, though, will be starting again on the city side. I don't know if that's the correct choice. Maybe now they finally found their mojo and they might be able to acquire a bit more rounds than we saw previously, because beforehand, I wouldn't say their city side was bad. It's just that their city side really relied on them getting some of the individual engagements, some massive plays from some of the individuals like Console, Rixo. So it's going to be interesting to see how they will now match up against Team 5, arguably on a similar level of Passions, but some would even argue that Passions are a bit of a better team than Team 5. So Team 5, what is their strat? Well, it's a pretty simple one, and it's a good old-fashioned rush B, and a good thing for them is that the players are playing relatively passively. That be Snedker, who's already out of the equation, but take a look at some of the players like Insta, who's already going for the instantaneous rotation. Quick flank from him, and Paulman may not be expecting of a flank so quickly. Karis pushing up, that's Console out of the equation, and now you still have some of the more CTs remaining, but they're scattered. The ranks of the CTs have been shattered. Insta though, what can you do? The one tap, Rixo as well getting a frag. This is now looking a bit more interesting. Lukey with the frag as well. Insta is now trying to make it work. Jays are the last T standing, and they still have the fuse kit to work with here, but Jays are picking up 3 massive frags from him, and the terrorist side will claim a round that was rightfully theirs from the get-go. It turned out to be very close, but Jays are at least is able to close that one out.
Yeah, the time was always going to be an issue there for Tricked, but Jazar just decides to close it out in style. And now heading into round 2, this is a somewhat strange buy, I think it's fair to say, from Team 5. To invest into 5 rifles is a little bit of a risk. If you do lose one of those AKs early and Tricked pick one of them up by going for some sort of a push, that would be something you wouldn't really want to happen. However, it seems like they're just going to stick together and push towards the B site. Snedker again holding onto the site, but he doesn't get a frag again on the B hold. So it looks like Team 5 will get this one done. The question is, again, is there the risk of them sort of losing a little bit of money if they lose some of these Galils, if they lose one of the AKs? That's already, what, $2,000 gone if some kills come through. So that's something to watch out for. And they don't get the bonus money from the SMG kills. So still, of course, going to win the rounds, but strange to see them go for full rifles.
Honestly, yeah, that's a bit strange, and hunting down the players also doesn't make a lot of sense for, I'd say, Team 5. Yeah, they can try and go for the hunt if they do or so, but then they would be losing, if, they end up dying, they'd be losing a possible rifle, and that is definitely not good for the terrorist side, and they're gonna be sticking through. Rifles surviving, in fact, 3 AK-47s and 2 Galils. I guess the good thing for Team 5 is, if they end up, for instance, winning the next round as well without losing too much, they're going to be able to stick through the rifles even onto the fourth round. So I'm guessing that's the whole thought process of Team 5. But this is still, I mean, get at least one SMG. If you have like a player with an SMG, you can allow him to be the one to try and get engagements, maybe try to play a bit more aggressive, so to speak. In Team 5 now, we're actually seeing them play a bit more aggressive towards the A part of the map. Looks like they're going to be hitting this A bombs in and also planting the bomb as well. So Trick, it doesn't make much sense now to just keep these 5 players alive. It just makes sense to maybe do some damage here, maybe even win the round as well. Lukey with the frag. And there's still 3 of those T's remaining, but they are relatively far apart from each other and relatively can be isolated. Pullman peeks through, takes down Rixo, but there's still 3 more T's to go for the Tricked side. And they're still making their way here. And Karis, Pullman, huge frags from them. And apparently that's how it's gonna go. Pullman, and of course Karis as well, doing some more important heavy lifting for this Team 5 side.
Yeah, surprising that they got the kills so quickly, but they get the job done nonetheless. And so now Tricks themselves will go for their first gun round on the CT side, but it is going to be without an AWP. We saw them want to go for the double AWPs earlier with both Snedka and Console buying them up previously, but this time they cannot afford any AWPs on their side of things. In the meantime as well, Jazar for Team 5 does have one for the T side, so he can try and take these long-range fights. Instead, he just shuts down Lucky up close, who is going for some aggression himself. And so Team 5, again, this time, get a man advantage early into a round. And if they could start to sort of keep rolling these rounds together on their T side, they're going to have a really good chance of shutting down Tricked early on. But at the same time, we saw Tricked have success on the T side last time they played earlier today. So still every chance for Tricked, and we're still going to have to focus on this round because a 4v5 is not impossible to overcome, of course.
It isn't, to be honest, but you gotta admire the positioning of one of those CTs. That could actually be Insta. He's pushed up so aggressively, to be honest. He's got main control. That's not a big of an issue for the Trick side, but Ivy could be an issue. Constantly able to pick up the second one as well. And Insta, as I mentioned previously, he was in a good spot. And Karis, who's now coming from Pop Dog, still very much in the round. Don't get me wrong. It's a 1 versus 2 in which Karis has got the bomb in his shoulders, and yep, I see where he's going. He's going to be going towards B, and this is where Sneaker's going to have to come up huge, I'd say. Karis has deployed the smoke, but he's actually going to be coming up from heaven. And they have to be careful about how they want to approach this one. Tricked, Karis sneaking through, and Snedker. You may not expect the player to be already up in heaven, because that is where Karis will be getting the frag from now. It's a 1 versus 1 against Insta, and Insta's got the op. 10 seconds left on the clock. Karis, of course, will plant the bomb. That's not that big of an issue, but he might just peek into the arms of the CT, but he's flashed, and yet Insta not backing away. Karis still try to clutch here. Insta up on the train, could be spotting out the player, but he's okay, that makes sense. Pulls out an M4, grabs the defuse kit as well, but he's wasting valiant time. Now he's spotted out Karis, and this should be, I'd still say, a valiant round here for Karis as he's running around the bomb site playing with the CT, and this honestly could be enough. Also, that flash. Is that flash going to be enough? Apparently it will. Insta getting the round win, and I'm not quite sure why on earth was Karis wrapping around from the other side. I mean, that was a bit of a misplay in the end. I mean, it's still a clutch situation, 1 versus 4, but honestly, that was winnable for Karis.
Yeah, when the flash popped, I think he was just too far away. He got blinded by it for a little bit too long, and so he couldn't really make his way forwards. He didn't want to risk just making the steps and then allowing an easy kill, considering he was blinded up. So it was fairly difficult at the end there. We see Jazar go out all the way through A main with the AWP in towards Olaf. Let's see if he can get the first kill. Indeed he can. The flashbang finds him that first frag. And so Team 5, if they could take this round, would surely reset Trick's money, but there goes Insta finding that eventual trade. Jazar, again, I'm not surprised to see him go aggressive, but I'm surprised to see him go so aggressive considering he didn't have the support. You saw the issue there. He has no support from his team, so he can't really fall back safely, and it ends up just being an even trade with the AWP also lost on the Team 5 side.
Yeah, support would have been nice, to have at least one more player towards main. Then the worst case scenario is, Jazar gets the frag, he might die, but there might also be a refrag, and now there was no such refrag. Insta very quick on the trigger finger, and he also takes down Paulman Luki as well, and now looks like the terrorist side offense is crumbling. YZN, the last T standing here for this Team 5 side, and he's got time to work with here. The problem is, though, the bomb, he's gonna have to recover it, and not only has he gotta recover it, but there's also CTs roaming around that very same bomb. YZN gonna have to be quick. Does take down Luki, which is nice and all, but there's still 30 seconds left on the clock. Not the most amount of work with here, and Insta could be the one to seal the deal here, as he is coming from Pop Dog. But YZN still trying to take the engagements here, and he realizes the player towards Ivy and a player towards Pop Dog, so that's actually working out relatively good now for YZN. But now they're pushing him, and YZN tries to go for the engagement. There's Insta from Pop Dog. Finally comes up with a frag, and Tricked winning another very close round here.
Yeah, again Tricked take it close. But they managed to get the round win, and that is all that matters because it means that Team 5 do not have the best of money. They're in this awkward position where a couple of players could afford the buy, but they decide it's not worth fully investing. You can see they're going to have a fair amount of money in the bank, so it will certainly be a buy into the coming round, but not too much investment into the current one, as Trick themselves going to take the fight to Team 5. The UMP just running out into the open to take down YZN early on. That's also a fair amount of information for Tricked because, of course, Console didn't spot anyone else out. So that's allowed Tricked to decide to put 2 players towards the B site. They are still playing passively because they don't want to lose these guns, but at the same time, Snedka with the UMP not going to have the best of chances in a long-range fight, especially against if there was, for example, a Deagle peeking him. Would be fairly difficult, and you can see Snedka is now going to play up close. And I do like this from Snedka just to try and make sure he can deny the bomb plant, because as Team 5 push here, just getting a plant for them would help their money. So here comes the push out through the flames. Insta finds one. Snedka gets a kill for himself, but Palmy might just get the bomb down. He's spinning to make sure he's safe, and that works out for the plant. That's all that Team 5 really wanted, and they just about get it for some bonus money.
And I mean, this round, it was a much, much better setup from Trick than what we have seen sometimes previously when there was Lonesome Insta. And Lonesome Insta on the bomb set of B was behind Coil. I mean, now that's not a very good spot to be holding in an anti-eco. Now what we saw here is Snedker hiding behind Great Train. He's got a relatively good position. If he sees someone deploying, for instance, a smoke from ramp, he can spray through the smoke. That's not that big of an issue. He can hide behind Great Train. It's also a pretty good spot. Insta's watching his heaven. So, yeah, I mean, that was some relatively good positioning. And now Jazar opening things up here for the Team 5 side. And with that opening, now they have a bit more space to work here. But take a look at Team 5, though. They're actually going to hit A. And A has only 2 defenders, of which both are dead. And the remaining Trick is going to try to go for this one. But they're coming from Pop Dog, and Karas will be good for 1. But there's still Insta and Snedka, who in contention, but it's just gonna be too difficult. I think backing away is the correct choice. Snedka also retrieves an AK for his trouble, and hey, if they're able to save up here, then an investment will be inevitable from the Tricked side.
Yeah, exactly. I was just looking at their money quickly, and saving these 2 guns would be nice. You can see Console, a couple of players not quite on full money, especially as they don't have a losing bonus built up, so they're not going to get too much cash at the end of the round. But Insta is sticking around here. He does get the exit kill. That's the AWP drop down, but there's plenty more players trying to push towards him. Here comes Kev finding the eventual trade. And so that is one of the guns lost. The AWP should still be saved. I don't think the bomb's going to damage them. Kev does survive. In the meantime, though, Snedka did take out YZN elsewhere, who apparently took some team damage in the mix. But yeah, Team 5 do lose a few guns at the end there, and that means that this round becomes very, very important, because I think both teams are going to have very little cash in the bank. So the winner of this round likely forces the opponent down to an eco. You can see almost all money being invested on both sides. It's just Team 5 with a tiny bit of money built up. So let's see how this round plays out. Very similar buys for both teams as well, both with 1 AWP each, and we're going to see Team 5 stick together at the start of the rounds, but I'm not expecting too quick of a push. Even though they're grouping up around B, I haven't really seen them go too quick yet, but as I say that, they're going to prove me wrong. Team 5 going incredibly quickly towards B, and YZN, a bit of a sloppy spray down, but he gets that all-important entry, and you can already see Tricked want nothing to do with this round. As soon as B is lost, it's just too hard to retake. With Team 5 having all the utility left to work with, there's no way Trick can get back into this round.
Yeah, hardly. And, you know, how can I understand your confusion? You're probably thinking, okay, you know, Team 5, they invested in that AWP, so you're probably thinking, okay, they're probably going to be playing a slower pace style of Counter-Strike. Allow the Opper to get the engagements, but heck, Team 5 throws that idea out of the window. They're just, let's try to rush B. YZN gets that frag, and it was a very swift call from Twick. Once that player drops, it's pretty much, okay, guys, let's go for the save. And honestly, it gives them another opportunity here. Otherwise, they might be having a difficult money situation, but now saving at least 3 of these rifles, it isn't that bad. Would have been also nice to save the rifle onto Snedker. Then Rixo could have been dropped, but right now, at least they've got something to work with here. That'd be the 3 rifles, and the rest of the players, Rixo, not even gonna invest in much. So Tricked, it's not looking too bad for them. but it's still not looking as good as Team 5 with the sniper rifle and the 4 AK-47s for this terrorist side. So that was a fast round from them, and I think Team 5 now are gonna be slowing down the pace. I mean, it doesn't make much sense to be trying to play out aggressive. I think they themselves now expecting some aggression, at least from the players that should be having pistols, who haven't weren't able to drop those rifles. That's why Team 5 is playing relatively slow. Once some time has passed, then we might see them make the move.
Yeah, Team 5 slowly creeping their way up through Ivy. There isn't really too much presence from Tricked. In fact, it's going to be Insta to take the first fight towards main. There's the opening kill for the CT side. So Team 5 will look to funnel out towards Ivy, and that has worked for that first kill, but Wiser and surely will go down. Rixo doesn't get the second kill. It's only a dink towards Palm. Does allow Snedka, though, to swing out wide from Connector. And Insta needs to check his back here. There's a player. Kara's just walking from Pop Dog, I think. And that leaves Jazar with the AWP left in a 1-on-3. And this is always the difficulty. If you don't go for an opening kill with the AWP, you can be left in these positions where it's really tough to see Jazar doing anything with an AWP here. I mean, the CTs are playing fairly safe, so Jazar might actually be able to get the bomb planted, but of course he doesn't know that. And so as the time ticks down further, this just makes it more difficult for Jazar. The timing nearly off, but Insta is forced back. That, of course, gives away Jazar's position, but still, Trick plays safe in towards Connector. Now comes some aggression, because with 13 seconds left, they can press Jazar for time. Ooh, he does actually line up the shot, but not the kill. In fact, the nade does actually find the frag. That was very nicely done there for the first kill, but again, just too many players to cope with, and so Tricked will take the round.
Some serious, I guess you could say, serious mistakes being done there by the Team 5 side. Especially, I'm not quite sure how that one sort of episode happened where Insta, he takes down a player towards main, and for some odd reason, Kevin turns his back towards main, when I think there should have been a call that there was a player in the main, so you still gotta check that part of the map. I mean, that was a bit of a misplay there from Kevin, but not only him. Team 5 were sloppy in taking the 8 bomb side. I mean, barely any sort of utility usage, and some of the angles that Trick had were superior, allowing them to get those frags, and well, it just goes to show that CT side sometimes Trick can really win some of the more important rounds here. And speaking about important rounds, this one also of relatively decent importance for both of these teams, because really, the winner might just be able to reset the economy of the opposition. Yeah, another round of great importance for both of these teams, playing relatively passively towards the B part of the map. When you look at it, there's only one defender, but at the same time, that's the defender with the AWP, that's Snedker. And 4 players on A. They're not seeing anything as of yet, but take a look here towards Pop Dog. Nice push there from Kevenko. And try to go for this peek towards Pop Dog. That's a very nice peek, 2 players actually being one on top of each other, jumping down. That's pretty much a double peek, and the player in Pop Dog just has such a difficult time to cope.
Yeah, the only time I think that can go wrong for Team 5 is if the player underneath does get taken down first. Then that second player is going to be in mid-air for a little bit, so they can run the risk of getting sprayed both down, but that's not going to happen this time because Team 5 already 2 men up now thanks to Palmy finding a kill. 30 seconds left means the time is a factor, but not too much of a factor because already Team 5 just continue to frag out. Only Snedka and Rixo left. The 2 AWPs don't get any chances to take the opening fights. There is Rixo nailing the first shot, but Karas finds a quick trade, and Karas with some incredibly nice headshots there, out aiming the AWPs at fairly long range fights. And so Team 5 are the ones who break the Tricked economy first. And this is kind of a similar position that Tricked were in on the previous map, where they didn't do that well on their CT side. They're going to try and themselves get back into this. They're going to go for the force buy. Insta invests into the AWP. He's up there at 15 kills, by the way. Certainly has been performing well, but a lot of the time it seems like his team is dying before him, and he's not having too many chances in some of these rounds. So let's see if the AWP can do anything here, as he is playing the rotator role between the sites, but now he's going to commit to B.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you think about it, the Ops haven't really had much success here on the CT side, that is. On the T side of Team 5 as well, to some extent. But, we haven't seen these setups of the ops towards A, towards B, and really they haven't had much action. It's just that the players that have the rifles, and in this case pistols, they die out so quickly for the ops to come into play. But at the same time, the ops are playing relatively passively from the CT side. We don't really get to see them go for some very aggro peaks like towards. Okay, how on earth did YZN already get there? I honestly have no idea, but anyhow, it looks like Team 5 will be taking the bomb site without any sort of serious issue. Insta about opportune time to back away, but still Team 5, they're losing some of their players here in the positions. Definitely they shouldn't be. Pullman now dropping. This is from a 5 versus 3, now make it a 3 versus 2. Kevin YZN. This is now not looking so hot here for the T side.
YZN is in towards heaven, though. That could be a very important position. A lot of times people overlook this spot, and you can see Snedka falls for that. He goes down first, and so both AWPs pushing out through Ivy in so much trouble. YZN already finds a second kill, and the AWPs can't really do anything at this point. Well, Insta does get gifted a free kill, but I don't think there's the time. The timing is slightly off. Keva takes him low. I think he might die to the bomb here. Insta, you need to run. Just about survives on 22 HP, so the AWP will be saved. Tricked though, I mean, they took that round really close. It was looking like they were going to be able to compete there, and then YZN just slows things down. As soon as he gets that first kill, he can just play things safe. And Tricked, once they have the 2 AWPs at Ivy, it's really difficult for them. Even though they know where the 1 player is, they don't know where the 2nd player is positioned from. And so in this round, it will only really be on Insta with this AWP. And we're going to stick with him as he might go for some early aggression now in towards Brown Halls. Just going to hold the angle early on, but Team 5 have a couple of players on the other side. So if they do go straying out a bit too far, could be an opening for Insta. It seems like he's just going to play it safe for the time being. And Team 5 themselves also going to play safe. Not too much at the start of the round. And just as I say that, Jazar does open up. Very nice shot there, as well as using the utility for the opening kill. That's, of course, something that I think is very important on these sort of rounds. Just use your utility. Make sure you don't get caught off guard by some close corner with a pistol player. And Team 5 do just that to get the first 2 kills.
And honestly, that just isn't good enough now from Tricked Insta. He's got to play a bit more of a important role here on the CT side. He's got that big green gun, which can do so great damage on the T's if he's quick enough and good enough to get the frags. But okay, he does get that frag in the end, which isn't that bad. But honestly, I mean, he could have been of greater impact in the rounds and in a round like this previously. But hey, looks like Trick is not even gonna go for the up. They're gonna be sticking solely on the rifles. 5 rifles coming out for them, and a bit of a lack in the defuse department. This could be quite frightening, I'd say, for the Danish squad if it really comes down to a retake. But for the time being, they have a decent amount of utility to stop any sort of pushes. There we go. Console and Rixo gonna be having a very good setup. Both the players pushing up towards Ivy, and this might be key, as now Team 5 have got the A bomb site. Karas, what a nice shot from him. Kev as well, and Pullman with the frag, and now Console, who is still coming up with a flank. The flank might just be a bit too late now, and Snedker has been blocked out, has been smoked off. There's nothing much he can do. In a scenario where the players are able to survive for a bit longer on the A bomb site, Console's flank is huge, but now it's just not gonna be working out for the Danes. Console, the last surviving CT, and that's gonna be it for this round. Team 5 will be acquiring their 9th, and you know, Trick didn't have a good scoreline when it came down to playing against Passions, but Team 5 seemed to be a pretty good match for them.
Yeah, you have to remember Tricked did look fairly good on their T side against Passions, but at the same time, on the CT side of Train, you need to get some more rounds than 4, I think it's fair to say. I keep saying this, I do think that Train has sort of been becoming a bit more balanced in terms of it does seem like the terrorists can find some executes, and sometimes I think I'll even see teams have a much better showing on the T side, to be honest, and that's what we're seeing from Team 5 so far. You're going to see Tricked with, of course, the only rifle saved for Console. And at this point, they're just going to have to save for the last round of the half. We are going to get to see Team 5 go for the exact same play quickly on towards A. And it's going to work out. They take down the rifle first, and that pretty much ends the round. Insta also falls. And Tricked with the 3-player stack towards B. We'll try and maybe find something on the flank. But yeah, again, Team 5 just pushing A quickly, works out another round in a row. Surely we're not going to see it 3 times in a row, though. That would just be maximum disrespect from Team 5.
No, I don't think I don't think we will. I think T5 will play it a bit smarter, so to speak. Maybe okay, Snucker, he will be killing Parliament there in the end. It was a bit shaky, but hey, at least he gets the frag. Not gonna be able to save the gun though, but anyhow, I mean Team 5. Yeah, I have to admit these pushes, these very fast pushes from the Team 5 side have been the kryptonite of Tricked. At some scenarios, Team 5 is just way too quick coming out of main. Ivy and even Pop Dog, we saw some of those rounds really working out for Team 5, but mainly for the past couple of rounds, they've just been pushing from main and Pop Dog, and that's good enough for Team 5. Trick, though, I mean, this CT side isn't looking good enough. Maybe the double up will be the answer, especially if they can, pretty much allow Snedker again play alone towards B. Gonna try to get some sort of duels here if push on the B bomb side does come through, but on the A side, this is where we have free guys, and these free guys are gonna be important. There we go, Insta actually starts things off very good. YZN drops, Constable with the frag as well. The M4s now finally coming alive here, and Trick in a position to get their 5th.
Yeah, looking good for the CT side to at least salvage one more round. I think it's fair to say Team 5 will already be delighted with how many rounds they have on the board. Looking at the bigger picture, if you like. Either way, Trick still have to ensure they win this round. As Carrasco's pushing out, he will also fall. And this has been a fairly sort of discoordinated round almost from Team 5. We're just seeing them take one-on-one fights. And sure, Jazar can win one of those one-on-one fights, but it's always going to be a risk to just push out sort of by yourself. You can see Jazar continuing to go aggressive, but he has no support. Easy shot for Snedker. A little bit of a disappointing end to the half, I think, here from Team 5, but still, 10 rounds on the board, as we've been saying, is more than enough for them. And Keve still has the chance, not anymore though. Insta takes him down, and so Trick to salvage a 5th to close out the half.
Yeah, a bit disappointing in this round, but hey, after all, they got like 10 rounds on the T side. I think they're going to be relatively happy how that went on. Surely they lost some rounds they should not have lost, but at the same time, some of the rounds they did win, I thought should be going in favor of Trick. Some of the openings Team 5 has been able to acquire have been outstanding, and really, YZ on the T side is a player that comes to my mind that has been doing a pretty good job, I have to admit, when it comes down to playing a bit more aggressively. Trick now, what can they show us here on the T side? Beforehand, when Trick were playing against Passions, Trick were doing a pretty good job, I must admit, on the T side. Now, Team 5, wondering are they going to be comfortable here on the CT side. Look at his push. Karras is pretty much out of this round already. The bomb will be planted, though. They should be having it relatively nice here. Kevin, though, has done decent amount of damage here on the Danes. It's still 3 versus 3, in which the Danes are pushing through, and Lukey doesn't have to play so aggressive, but the aggressive plays work out for him beautifully. Now, Paulman, 1 versus 1 against Console. Look at his Console. Has actually got the Molotov, but it's gonna be of no effect. I'm not quite sure why he's not expecting the player to be on the side itself constantly. Yeah, he's gonna be taking out Paulman, but in the end, I think player with 8 HP should have maybe even stick it through, especially him having the defuse kit as well. It's risky. Yeah, he's only got 8 HP, but if the player misses his shots completely, it might just work out for it. Otherwise, taking a one-on-one engagement when you have 8 HP against a player with 100 HP is sometimes quite difficult.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say there is that if he had something like 20 HP, I think it's much better to stick the defuse. But when you're on 8 points of health, you just need 1 bullet and you're dead. So it's really difficult to risk sticking the defuse there. And also, I think a lot of the times when sort of those fake diffuses come through, you'll see the terrorists almost always peek out. So I can kind of understand why he tried it. Didn't work out this time, and so Team 5 will go for some aggression early. It's YZN specifically pushing in towards Team Main. Don't think he's going to get too much action though. Rixo on the other side with the Mac 10 is just holding it back patiently. And the rest of the team is stacked towards B off the back of this small amount of information that YZN has picked up. I don't think that's going to come in their favor, although as I say that, the bomb is now making its way back up towards that position. So Team 5, with the stack towards B, could have a chance here. But as soon as Rixo spots out that push, now Tricked might think twice about the B stack, because that was a very confident push out there from YZN by himself. And you already see Team 5, they decide they can't commit to the B stack. And that means that Karis by himself peeks out, and this is really unfortunate for Team 5. Now they're going back to B, and now they are going to fall for Tricked's fake. Really pretty grim position for Team 5. They were stacked towards B, then they rotate off B, the push comes in, then Trick go back to A. Just nothing working out for Team 5, really.
Yeah, really. I think honestly they should have just stick through the plan in the end. Even though I know they're thinking that one of their teammates drops YZN, he should be calling out already that a player is pushing A, a player is pushing A. That's why Team 5 make the rotate in the end. But honestly, if they stick it through B, they might just then try to wrap around through brown holes, maybe towards Pop Dog, get a frag there if possible. And well, they're still gonna be saving what they've got here. Those couple deagles, the Count and the CZ onto Pullman. Really, that's not something worth bragging about for Team 5. They want to try to get this run as quick as possible, and think about the 18th round, because it's another fresh round here for the Team 5 side, and maybe the pistol is gonna come out to be more successful in that 18th round. But for the time being, Tricked doing a pretty good job, I must admit, in a round like previously.
Indeed, that is the case. Trick just sticking with a fair few SMGs, of course. Should be a fairly easy round for the Danes. And if they can start to get rolling on their T side, we did see them have a lot of success on their gun rounds in that first game of the day, where they took down Passions 16-10 on this very map. So even though they lost the first half 10-5, still potentially chances for Tricked. I think the pistol round was always going to be massively important in determining that, and now they've got that in their favour. They're going to try and just keep on rolling, as this time we're going to see a quick A play. Lucky finds the first. Oh, Karis walks through the smoke. This is dangerous now as some kills come back for the CT side. It's still Tricked who have brought it back to a 3 versus 3. However, Team 5 themselves just going to play things safe, stay alive. So I think Tricked should be able to get the bomb down. And without the defuse kit, tough to see Team 5 realistically pulling off the retake. But at the same time, just a couple of kills is already a decent start to the round for the CT side.
This is where sometimes some of these fast plays, like very fast players, already from the A, for instance, from T-spawn, already pushing on either of the bomb sites, can really not go in favor of the terrorist side. It's sometimes rounds like these that are so hectic. That is where the CTs with those very mere pistols can shine, and a round like this, it's still 3 versus 3, but it's not looking good here for Team 5. I'm thinking at this point, they can maybe kill another guy here and there. That'd be quite good to recover his weapon, but then Trick seemed to be looking relatively far away from the bomb itself. It's being defused by Kevin, but it's not good enough. I mean, he just simply doesn't have a lot of time to work with there, Kevin. So Team 5, they do some more damage with the pistols they left on from the round previously, but now the gun round, which is looking relatively good here for Trick. They got 4 of those AK-47s, one of the lonesome UMP, but Team 5, they've afforded the up onto Jazar. A bit of a lack on utility by YZN and Keva, but the rest aren't doing too bad. But with this bit of a lackluster buy, it would be nice to see some sort of aggression. Paulman, though, a peek like that's very risky from Paulman. Should have deployed a smoke and then maybe try to cross, otherwise that could not have gone in his favor. But also take a look at YZN and Jazar. Both the players have secured main, and this is very crucial for the Team 5 side.
Yeah, Team 5 looking to take some of the map away from Tricked at the early stages of this first gun round. And you can see it's not exactly like YZN is pushed up by himself. Jazar is there with the AWP, ready to back him up if he goes down. I do like this play from Team 5. The one weakness, I suppose, in this setup is the fact there's only a single player towards B who is having to play fairly safe. However, it seems like that won't be an issue, because right now Tricked are very much more focused towards the A side of the map. So let's see if YZN can get one kill, or if they're going to have to rely on Jazar to bail him out. Because it looks like the terrorists were going to move in, but just as I say that, Rixo is going to stop, and we're just going to have an awkward hold from both teams. With 35 seconds left, Tricked will look to regain control of T main, but even if they manage to take down YZN, there are still plenty of players towards the site. YZN goes peeking just a bit too quickly. The timing not quite right, but Jazar does find that trade we were talking about. Back to a 3-on-3 as Insta himself finds another kill over towards Ivy, and there we go, the terrorist just fragging out. Keve finds one, but that's all she wrote. And so Tricked continue to keep going on their T side as they take this first gun round.
Unnecessary from YZN. Very unnecessary indeed. I guess I understand his thought process. Maybe someone called it, oh, it's actually B. You know, it's actually B. Someone was throwing utility smokes on the B bomb, so there's gotta be a B hit. That's why YZN reacted so frantically. But the thing is, though, that was just a bit of a fake there from the Danish side, or as I might say, tricked the TEAM5 boys of Sweden. So, I mean, after all, YZN, it was a very good angle. If it would have been, pardon me, if he was holding that angle for the entirety of the round, I mean, he could have done maybe some decent damage on Trick, but I have to admit, it works out beautifully there for the Danes.
Indeed it did, and now we're getting a very calm start to the round. Both teams just sitting back patiently. I almost feel like I should put on my ASMR voice for this one.
Ooh.
I'm not actually going to do that. We're going to see a push, so it's not going to be calm for too long. I thought Team5 were going to push through, but they proved me wrong. There we go, we get some action. YZN taken down to 11 HP. They're going to fall back towards B. In fact, Team5, by the looks of things, after pushing out through B, I kind of like this because you can see Trick don't really want to take fights against CZs in towards Brown Hall, so they themselves are just going to go for the A push. And now Team5 have 5 players stacked here. This could become dangerous now for the Danes.
And the thing is, I think it will. They've all learned past Brucaris, but at least it's able to get the one frag, which is good enough, you could say that, especially with Pullman taking down Insta. It's a free versus free, but Jazar pushing through the smoke. Unnecessary, you could say that. It puts Pullman in a 1 versus free, also taking down one more. And a second, would that be Luke out of the equation? I mean, come on, Console. He's actually going to run up to heaven. He might just take this one. I don't know if he actually spotted out Pullman there. I honestly don't think so, but now he's gonna be moving up onto heaven, and this is where things get tricky for Pullman. I mean, sticking the defuse a bit too difficult, and Pullman has no idea where the T might be at, and he's up in heaven, gazing down below us. Pullman. I mean, that was just an easy frag for Console. 10-10 is the scoreline. In fact, Tricked. We said that they were a relatively good team on the terrorist side, and it's actually now showing. Making a bit of a comeback here, 5 rounds in a row. Equalizing the scoreline. Team5 gotta be feeling, I'd say, maybe some pressure here.
Yeah, to be fair to Palmy at the end there, I don't think you can expect someone to walk up a ladder like that in a 1-on-1. It's just such a huge risk. If someone peeks towards you while you're on the ladder, you're just instantly dead and you lose the round. So not exactly his fault, and he made things very close. And again, I said I really like the play from Team5. Don't like that play for them, though, because Jazar already goes down. The AWP is dropped, and so Keve is forced to hold this B site, looking for the spray down, but he only finds the 1 kill, and now he is out of ammo. He's forced to reload. He's forced to let them go onto the site. Console gets the kill, but the Molotov finds the trade from Keve, and Trick now have 2 players fairly low on health. This is not looking good for them. I thought they were going to take the B site, but Team5 rotate over fairly quickly, and now you can see Tricked without the utility can't do too much. Rixo has snuck his way forwards. He can certainly hear YZN, but with 3 players to find and only 14 points of health, I don't think he's going to realistically be able to win this one. Even though YZN hasn't spotted him out, there is still the chance for Rixo here to get 1 kill, but then they should know, and YZN eventually turns around to spot him. So Team5 finally puts an end to the Tricked winning streak, and surprisingly enough, Tricked don't have perfect money here.
Honestly, yeah, they don't have a lot of money.
Wow.
I mean,
really? They're not going to buy?
I think Console, he definitely could have dropped some of his teammates some of those pistols, but now they're just, I think they're going to be going for the obvious choice. I mean, they have uneven money, so they even out some of the money by investing in some of those pistols. The AK-47 for Console, because he had something like, what, $8,000, so I mean, now things have been even out here for Trick, then having pistols and that lonesome AK-47, I think it does make sense. For instance, let's try to do right here, trying to push on the A-bombs by deploying that utility. And now with the smokes being deployed, they can definitely plant the bomb. But look at Insta pushing through the smoke. Simple as that, he will be getting at least one frag. But at the same time, the T's 4 versus 3 for them, and it's not looking too bad for them. But oh, Rixo is expecting a flank from a player that beat Paulman. And if he's gonna take his time, oh, he's actually gonna be taking down Rixo. So this is now looking not too bad for Team 5. Console and Snedker. What more can you do? Make it all up to Console. 1 versus 3 is possible for Console, but there we go. That's the double peak. And the double peak is way too strong. They're a bit of a close round there for Team 5 in the end. But when you think about it, when Trick had that entry on that A bomb side, still winning that one looked a bit difficult, but at least Paulman, takes down one of the players. Then there's sort of a confusion within the ranks of the Danes, and Team 5 able to pull through.
We saw Karis and Jazar double AWP in some previous rounds, but this time it's only going to be Jazar AWPing on the Swedish side. He did struggle previously. He went for that peek towards Brownhalls and ended up just getting picked off by the AK early on. So I'm sure this time he will be hoping for a little bit of a better run of things, and he's going to try that over towards Ivy, but he won't spot anyone out. Just look at the minimap right now. Jazar and Palmy are pushing out towards Ivy, but the rest of Trick being grouped up around B means it's very likely they will go for this push. And to be fair to Team 5, they have 2 players on towards the B site. So still plenty of chances for them here to hold this off as Keve goes for the spray down. It's a big one at that. He finds himself 2 kills. Will they expect the second? They do. And so Lucky finds 2 kills back. And we're into a 3-on-3 with Team 5 having to come back towards the site, and it's just not happening. Lucky continues to frag, finding a third and leaving Jazar's AWP in a 1-on-2.
Boy, oh boy, there's some crucial frags from Lucky, but he overextends. Now you have the ops. One op against the other one, Rixo's op versus Jazar's, and I have to admit Rixo in a pretty peculiar position with his op, and I think Jazar... Oh, I might have thought Jazar might have actually spotted out Rixo right there, but this is still going to be, I'd say, quite the awkward battle between the two. Rixo spotting out Jazar, but Jazar switches up to an M4, and he should be maybe winning this one when you think about it. But he's wasting valiant time, and Rixo goes for the peek, and Rixo comes out through superior in that 1 versus 1 clutch. But you have to give credit for Lukey as well. Some of the openings he got in that B bombs it. I mean, it was a 3 versus 2 at one point, but then Rixo and Lukey coming alive when it matters most. And the terrorist side team pick up another round here. It was looking a bit scary. You were probably thinking, okay, Team 5, get that 3rd round on the board. They might start build some momentum on the CT side, but now things are coming down, crashing by the looks of it. 11-12, and Team 5 don't necessarily have the greatest economy in a round like this.
Ooh, Jazar's gone aggressive here, but Palmy just scoped in. I think that should have been heard by Insta on the other side. He hasn't reacted yet, but out comes the molly, so they certainly were aware, and that should isolate Jazar around the corner. The question is, do they know he's here? And no, they don't. Jazar gets that first headshot, and he's not going to get baited by the prospect of the UMP. He's just going to stay around the corner, stay safe, and by the looks of things, fall back. In the meantime, Palmy was pushed through to cover him, and so it's just a clean man advantage for Team 5 to start the round. With also a couple of players playing aggressive, you can see YZM pushed in towards Popdog. They're starting to take away the map from Tricked a little bit here.
I wouldn't say that things are slipping away there from the Tricked side, but look at this, Team 5. They're going to be putting a bit more eggs within the basket of the B bomb set, and they may not be having such a difficult time ahead of them, especially as YZN he's towards Popdog, and he's going to be crucial if a flank does come through. There we go, the scout of Palman doing work. Lukey again shining through on this B bomb, so a second frag for him, and YZN and Karis, they're going to try to go for this one, I believe, but it's just not going to be good enough. Karis with the CZ. The lonesome CZ of his will be taking down Rick, so that isn't that bad, but I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time to work with here. Could very much be taking down Lukey here, but not today, Karis. It's again going to be Trick equalizing the scoreline, and I mean, it's still relatively close here. The second half, this is where things truly matter on that second half, because on the second half, you can close out the game And if these rounds gotta be going back and forth like this, it's gonna be quite hard to say which team can actually come out on top.
So, Danny, this game is so hot that the fire alarm's gone off in my house. So
I
I'm gonna
what?
mute my mic, and you're gonna have to take this over for a little bit.
What? I don't know how I feel about this one.
Okay, I think my housemate just burned some food. But yeah, you can keep casting. I've left the game up. I'll just go and check. I'll make sure Auto Director's on. Still here, guys. Tricked win the round. Keep going.
very interesting turn of events because apparently my co-caster Haka went away, and for some odd reason my microphone just stopped working. So that's a very unfortunate turn of events. Yeah, at least we're good to go in this game here. Tricked. Gonna be facing a Team 5 team who is pretty much on a bit of an eco at this point. I mean, we can't expect much from Team 5, especially as Trick has already made their way onto the B bomb, so they're gonna be playing the bomb without, I presume, any sort of serious issues. And now with the bomb being planted, this should be the round here, I presume, for Tricked. Well, Palman, though, he's got something to say about it. You know, he'll be picking up a frag, but there's Insta, who should be taking down Palman, and YZN, with the lonesome set of his, will still try to do something, maybe even save the AK-47. I mean, that wouldn't be that bad of a choice at this point, or he could do some damage here. Some damage will be inflicted, but he still doesn't have enough time. And I think saving the AK does make sense. If he can run away, I think, yeah, he just about gets it. So the scoreline now is going to be 15 to 12. I honestly have no idea how this happened. That sort of, my microphone stopped working at the same time my co-caster Haka got his fire alarm going. That was so weird. Anyhow, 15 to 12. Yeah, scoreline that is favoring the Danes, to say the least. And Team 5, though, they're putting a lot of effort on defending this A bombs, and take a look at the push, though. It's not looking too bad here, but as Karis and YZN picking up frags apiece, and now Karis with his second one. Now this is looking like the end, at least in this round, for the Tricked side. The Danes are gonna crumble. And as the Danish squad trembles whilst entering that A bomb, so Team 5 will turn out to be victorious. I'm not quite sure really what happened there. Some of the smokes, I think, deployed there from Team 5, from the Tricked side, but they weren't good enough. There were some still openings, some gaps within those smokes, allowing, for instance, Karis, the upper frags, two crucial frags nonetheless. And also the rest of the Team 5 side doing a pretty good job and actually hitting those important shots. 15 to 13. This game can still very much go the distance. And at this point, it's pretty much anyone's game. Surely Team 5, they do need 2 rounds to get to overtime. Tricked is relatively close to even win out the game, but as Karis takes down Snetker, things are not looking too shabby here for the Swedes. Kevin, though, on the bomb site, still holding. Where is the push from Trick? It's coming. A bit delayed there by some of the utility of Team 5. But now looks like it is going to be a 3 versus 3 in which the Swedes of Team 5 will have to retake. There's no option of saving at this point. Oh, no, no, no. Team 5, you have to win this one if possible. Put your team to overtime. The question is, can they get the frags here as quick as possible? Time is ticking. They're taking their sweet time, but the frags, yet Rixo picking up a frag of his own. Trick will be winning one more, and YZN turns with the 180, and it's now all up to Console and YZN. He's gonna stick it. YZN might have actually... No, YZN! No, not like this. I think he might have had just about enough time to defuse the bomb. That was heartbreaking. That was quite the heartbreaking loss right there, 16-13. I think there might have been a second, less than a second, but still quite a very close round there in the end. Nicely done there, I have to admit, by Trick to close it one out, ending the first half in a scoreline that wasn't even favoring them, 10-5, and now they come out to be the superior team. I hope my partner Haka is doing fine. As he is control of the stream, he should also be the one switching the scenes. So yeah, I also hope he's doing fine. I know the man's not hot, but if his apartment's on fire, well, that's not good. Simply put at it. Anyhow, that's about it for the quick intermission. Our second matchup will be WASD versus none other than Kingwin. Now that's gonna be quite interesting matchup because I don't think Kingwood and the Estonian team WSD has ever met in an online matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see if both those teams compare against each other. You know, it's going to be quite the interesting matchup. And for now, I'm guessing we're going to a quick break.